If you opened a history book 20 years ago, dictators were usually presented in a very simple way. They were the villains, the warning signs, the people societies were supposed to learn from and never repeat. But if you open TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, or X today, you'll notice something strange. Millions of views, epic music, cinematic edits, thousands of comments praising authoritarian leaders. Sometimes it's Vladimir Putin, sometimes Muammar Gaddafi, sometimes Kim Jong-un, sometimes historical figures from decades ago. And what's interesting is that many of the people making these edits don't even live in those countries. They're not directly affected by these governments. So why do they admire them? Why does the internet seem fascinated by powerful rulers? The answer has less to do with politics than most people think, and much more to do with psychology. Because often what people admire isn't the dictator. It's what the dictator appears to represent: power, strength, confidence, control, and certainty. One thing social media consistently rewards is power. Think about the characters that become popular online. They're rarely average people. They're usually dominant personalities: gangsters, warriors, anti-heroes, movie villains, people who seem untouchable. Humans have always been fascinated by power. Power signals status. Power signals influence. Power signals control. And dictators often appear to have all three. When someone controls an entire country, commands an army, and appears on television speaking with absolute confidence, they naturally attract attention, whether people support them or not. The internet amplifies this attraction. A dramatic soundtrack, a few carefully selected clips, some cinematic editing, and suddenly a political leader starts looking like a movie character. Social media compresses reality into short emotional moments, and emotional moments are often more powerful than facts. One of the most interesting examples is Muammar Gaddafi. Years after his death, videos about him continue to go viral. Many comments describe him as a hero. Others describe him as a dictator. The reality is far more complicated than either side wants to admit. Some people point to economic programs implemented during his rule. Others point to censorship, repression, and the lack of political freedoms. But social media doesn't reward complexity. It rewards simple stories. And Gaddafi has become part of a popular internet narrative. The narrative of the strong leader who stood against powerful countries. Whether that narrative is completely accurate is often ignored. Because online, symbolism matters more than details. People aren't always reacting to the historical figure. They're reacting to the image, the myth, the story. And stories are often more emotionally powerful than facts. Another example is Vladimir Putin. Even among people who aren't Russian, Putin has developed an image of strength. You'll often see edits showing him walking confidently, speaking calmly, or appearing unfazed during international crises. Supporters see confidence, critics see propaganda. But psychologically, something important is happening. Humans are naturally attracted to certainty, especially during uncertain times. When people feel frustrated with politicians, economic problems, or social instability, they often become more attracted to leaders who appear decisive. The key word is appear, because confidence and competence are not always the same thing. Yet our brains often confuse them. Someone who speaks confidently can seem more capable than someone who admits complexity and uncertainty, even when reality is the opposite. That's one reason strongman leaders often gain attention far beyond their own countries. Perhaps the strangest example is Kim Jong-un. North Korea is one of the most isolated countries in the world. Yet Kim Jong-un frequently appears in memes, edits, and viral content. In many cases, people aren't genuinely supporting him. They're participating in internet culture. Gen Z humor is heavily based on irony. People often share things because they're absurd. The more ridiculous something seems, the funnier it becomes. But something interesting happens over time. Irony can blur into admiration. People start sharing content as a joke. Then they see thousands of others sharing it. Eventually, the line between satire and support becomes difficult to see. Social media has a unique ability to transform serious political figures into entertainment products. And once politics becomes entertainment, perception changes dramatically. This may be the most important point in the entire video. Many people aren't admiring the actual leader. They're admiring a fantasy, the fantasy of certainty, the fantasy of order, the fantasy of someone who can solve problems instantly. Modern life often feels chaotic. Politics feels complicated. The economy feels unpredictable. The future feels uncertain. Strong leaders offer a simple story. They claim to have answers. They claim to know exactly what needs to be done. Psychologically, that can be very appealing because certainty feels safe, even when it's only an illusion. People naturally gravitate toward individuals who seem to know where they're going, especially when everyone else appears confused. One common assumption is that only citizens of those countries admire these leaders, but that's not true. Many admirers live thousands of miles away. Why? Because often they're not evaluating the leader's actual government. They're comparing the image of that leader to frustrations in their own society. If someone feels their politicians are weak, a strong man looks attractive. If someone feels their government is ineffective, a decisive leader looks attractive. If someone feels their society is divided, a leader who promises unity looks attractive. In many cases, admiration says less about the dictator and more about dissatisfaction with current institutions. People project their frustrations onto political figures they've never actually lived under. And social media makes that projection incredibly easy. The internet has created something unique in human history. Political leaders are no longer just political leaders. They're content, they're brands, they're memes, they're aesthetic symbols. Some people admire dictators because they genuinely support their ideas. Some admire them because they represent strength. Some because they enjoy the memes. Some because they enjoy the controversy. But beneath all these reasons lies the same psychological attraction: power, certainty, control, and confidence. The next time you see an epic edit of a powerful leader online, ask yourself a simple question. Are people admiring the real person, or are they admiring the fantasy that person represents? Because those are often two very different things, and understanding that difference may tell us more about human psychology than it does about dictators themselves. What do you think? Do people admire dictators or the idea of certainty?